Well, Dave, first of all, thanks for being part of our Project Syrian. Tell us a bit about Racetech and how it all started.
Okay, so Racetech actually started in Christchurch in 1992, October 92. So we've just celebrated our 30th year. It was just a one-man band, and eventually I moved it to Wellington in 1997. At the time, everything fitted into one 20-foot shipping container. And we started production. It was pretty tough the first few years, and then our real breakthrough, I guess, came in 2001 when we exhibited at the PRI show in Indianapolis, and we through that we picked up the project to design and develop a seat for the Dodge Viper competition coupe, which turned out to be an amazing project. As much because of the people we were introduced to and the projects that followed from it. So it really put our new technology on the map as well, which was the back-mounted seat, which is now used in most GT categories around the world, in the cars that we supply. In fact, it's mandatory in GT3 from the FIA. So that's just given a driver both better safety in the car, but also a better feel of the car. So the Porsche professional drivers keep telling us that the seat we produced for the RSR was the best seat they've ever sat in.
I guess that's one of many changes that have happened in the last 20 years in terms of seat design and the way that you build them.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're still looking for new ways to do things all the time. But the company's now, we're in a 12,000 square foot factory, and we've got 26 staff here in Wellington, subsidiaries in US, UK, and Australia, and we find that's the best way for our distribution to operate. But the seat design and development, I mean, the latest ones we're doing now, which we have been for a little while, and what you'll put in your car, Dave, is resin infusion. So it's a cleaner process. It gives you a lighter, stronger laminate, and so for a race car, perfect. It's good for us to make, and it's good for the driver to use.
So those seat options, obviously you've got different designs, but also there's the Kevlar versus the fiberglass. Is there any difference apart from the weight?
The cost. so a carbon seat we use a kind of a rule of thumb of a carbon seat's twice the price and half the weight. So,
sure.
And they're obviously made differently. It's quite a different process. The epoxy has to be cooked, so there's a lot more labour involved in it. But you end up with a much nicer product if you're prepared to pay for it.
So if you go out into the market, there's lots of race seats. The prices range from very cheap to very expensive. One of the reasons we chose Racetech, obviously, is because it's built in New Zealand. I think that's a really great synergy. But also, tell us about the difference between an FIA homologated seat and something you buy off eBay.
So the seats most of the seats we produce are tested to at FIA standards. So there are currently 3 standards, and there was a new one that came out last year. But we only have seats that meet 2 of them at this stage. So 8855 is a dynamic test. So the seat is bolted onto a sled, a crash test sled, and it has a dummy put in it, crash test dummy, and it gets forces of up to 26G put onto the seat. And the seat's not allowed to show any signs of cracking or delamination. So it's a pretty sudden stop. It's about 70 kilometres an hour to nothing in about 200 millimetres. So it's a very sudden stop. The next standard is the one that's used in GT cars and supercars in Australia, British touring cars, etc. Is the 8862 2009 standard, which is a quasi-static test. So that's loads that are pushed onto the seat, and the seat is only allowed to deflect so far. The benefit of that is it's more repeatable. The sled testing is very hard to get accurate repeatability, and the 8862 seat is more than double the strength of an 8855.
Now, the driver's seat we've chosen has got a driver's head restraint, which is a relatively new thing at this level of price. Tell us what advantage there is to that.
So one of the people I met when we were doing the Viper project back in 2002 was a chap by the name of Dr. John Melvin, who'd been around safety in the automotive world for decades. And he said, it's very simple, David. You need to keep the head, the shoulder, and the pelvis in the same alignment to each other, and the human body can handle massive decelerations. So by keeping the head and the shoulder in the same alignment to each other, you're stopping your neck going through all sorts of unusual loads when you have a side impact. So it's mainly about side impact. Obviously the back of the seat protects you in a rear impact, and the harness and harness device or frontal head and neck device protects you in a frontal impact.
Now, you don't just sell seats, you sell a lot of accessories as well, and race belts. So you're kind of a one-stop shop for someone who's looking for the safety devices to put into a new car.
Yeah, absolutely, and that really came about when I was rallying, Dave, and there was nowhere in Wellington where you could put your hands on serious motorsport equipment, and so we decided that we'd set up what was then Black Rally Sport, and we started importing harnesses and other products back in 1996. So you've been going a long time now, and obviously our shop now has a much bigger range of product, but our main focus is still safety, and that's what we see ourselves as experts at.
Now, when we got the seats, I took your advice. We put the seat in the car, then we didn't mount it, but we put the seat in the car, looked roughly about where it was going to go, and then we had a look at the roll cage where that was going to go. It's quite a complex calculation, really, isn't it, to get the best place for the seat, the best place for the roll cage. And you have a theory that the seat should come first.
Yeah, and it's come through experience dealing with major car manufacturers. I know Porsche, when we were being invited to get involved in the new GT3R, which they're just building now, the team leaders said to me that they needed to start with the seat because it has become such an integral part of a race car and such an important interface between the driver and the car. So they decided on our seat, which we designed especially for the car, and then they started designing the roll cage and other things around the seat.
It's amazing. I guess one thing I should touch on is it's not just the seat, right? You also supply a seat mount, a frame that the seat bolts into.
Yeah, just to make it easy for our customers, really, Dave. We have a range of different brackets, and both side brackets and back brackets, and it's really, it saves you having to try and fabricate something up yourself, I guess.
True. Well, we're looking forward to putting the seat to test, not in a crash, but on the track. And once again, thanks very much for being part of our project.
Hey, a pleasure, Dave, and good luck. Hopefully you enjoy getting in a car.
Thanks, man.